YouTubers, Pastor Bob NCC. You know, I get asked occasionally if I worry about like things going on. You know, all of these things around us. And people, to be honest, I do worry. And I worry for my grandkids. You know, I believe the Lord's return is imminent. But I also think, well, you know, what if it's not? Because, I mean, people have thought that forever. And I think about this world that my grandkids are going to have to grow up in. And it also irritates me about the people that are doing the things that they're doing. And I want to talk to you for just a little bit about that. And I want to talk to you about some of the perils that we face in our day and age. Never in history, ever, have we had the kind of things that we're facing right now. We've never had the science. We've never had men so evil as to use that science against all of humanity. And when you look at the Georgia Guidestones, we've talked about this before. The Georgia Guidestones, which is the Illuminati's blueprint for the future, it says maintain the world's population at 500 million. Well, right now there's 700 billion, so that means 6.5 billion of us have to go. So what are the top things that I believe that we have to face in the future? I just wanted to give you a brief list of mine. First of all, we're going to start out in Matthew 24, verse 21 and 22. And this is what it says. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. People, you know what? That's terrible. When you read that God says that if He didn't step in, no one would remain alive. And I got a feeling that's not just man-made. I mean, God brought about disasters. Those are man-made things. And that's what we're going to talk about. So let's go over some of the top ones that always come to my mind. Number one, first and foremost, and all you people need to know about this, is vaccinations. The vaccinations that they're giving our kids. I don't get flu shots anymore. I haven't for years. My daughters don't vaccinate their kids. I mean, they have to get some of them or they can't get into school. But still, these vaccinations, I do not trust this government to stick a needle in me for all the money in the world, people. No way. These vaccinations, we have things coming about now that we haven't had for years. New diseases, old diseases popping up. But vaccinations, I do not trust them, nor do I trust the government that sticks them in our little kids. We've had kids, my little grandkids, that have gotten a vaccination and been sick for a week afterward. And I mean, when I was in Desert Storm, they gave us a shot that they said we had to have one time, and the next day half the base was in the hospital. They tried to tell us it was food poisoning. Yeah, right. The day after they give us a shot. So listen, never trust your government when it comes to putting a needle in you. So here's another one, and this is the biggest thing, honestly. Well, not the biggest, because they're all the biggest. But this is one of the biggest things that we're facing right now that's man-made. You know, we had 3 Mile Island, the nuclear disaster, 3 Mile Island, and we didn't learn anything from that. And then we had Chernobyl in Russia. We didn't learn anything from that. And then the Japanese build one right on the ocean on one of the worst earthquake fault zones on the planet. And then look what happens, Fukushima. People, that happened in March 11th, 2011, right? It's right now 2019. So it's been leaking radiation every day into the ocean for what? 8 years. 8 years every day, just radiation running off into the ocean. And now we have fish die-offs now that are unprecedented. And I got a feeling it can all be traced back to Fukushima. And you know, every once in a while I'll eat seafood, and I know better. I know I should never touch anything that comes out of that ocean. But That is a man-made disaster. And listen, Fukushima, from what I've read and what some of the scientists are saying, that's going to alter life on planet Earth. And they're still not doing anything to fix it. And it has the ability to kill every living thing. So, man, I'll tell you what, we'll wait and see how that turns out. And the next one is CERN. People, CERN, this Large Hadron Collider on the Swiss-France border, you know, the particles spinning around at the speed of light. So this is what it says in Revelation 9:1, and I honestly believe that these two are connected. It says, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven to the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit." People, listen. CERN is built on one of the oldest pagan altars on planet Earth, is right there, and that's where they chose to build CERN. And Stephen Hawking, you know, I never agree with anything that this man ever said, but one thing he did say was, don't turn that on. Don't turn that on. If you do, either A, you could create some kind of a black hole that could destroy the entire universe. You don't know what's going to happen. And CERN's response was, well, probably nothing will. People, CERN it's horrible. People, I have a feeling that when they get that thing spinning fast enough and it actually opens up a portal into another dimension, they're not going to like what comes through it. Because number one, it could be fulfillment of this Revelation 9:1, where that's the key to the bottomless pit, and all those demons that have been imprisoned, the 4 commanders that you read about in Revelation, when those guys come out, they are not going to like it. And it's like everything else, once they open that, they're not going to be able to close it. So CERN, that's a big, big concern. The next one is chemtrails. You know, I show you guys all the time when I'm filming out in the backyard. When we're sprayed here in California literally every couple of days. They're constantly spraying the skies. And I know that they're putting heavy metals in there, and I've studied it, and there's one of two purposes. Either A, when this great deception comes about, they're saying that what they're spraying in the sky is going to make the sky a perfect movie screen for like holographic images and things like that. So it could definitely play into the deception, and that also those metals, you know, the borium, the aluminum, everything else they're spraying, and we're breathing that in. So there's no telling what the plan is behind all that. But I know we get sprayed every day. The next one is, and this is the big one that's coming about right now, and that's 5G. These stupid 5G on these cell phones. The 4G wavelengths are farther apart, and they don't really do a whole lot to the humans. But 5G actually heats up the cells in a person's brain. And they're putting these things so close together. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a 5G tower, but I'm serious. I got one that I look at when I have to go to the hospital at Travis, and they must have cables that are 6 inches thick, about a dozen of them that go up to that thing. That can't be for cell phones. I don't know, a lot of people believe it's a weapon. There's no telling, but it's just something else to add to the mix of things that could kill us. And the next one is nanotechnology. And this is the one that I think is the worst thing to come, are these little nanobots. Because pretty soon when you go to the doctor, they're going to say, look, we're going to turn this little nanobot loose inside you, and he's going to cure you of this, that, everything else. And I wouldn't doubt a bit if this nanotechnology might play into the mark of the beast. Because you know, with the mark of the beast, once you take it, you cannot get saved. And I think this nanotechnology, when people start taking it inside their body, it's going to alter their DNA. The minute your DNA is altered, you are no longer human, and you are no longer eligible for salvation. So there's no telling what they're doing there. But anyway, that's just about 6 of mine that I can think of. There's a whole lot more. You keep thinking, you drive yourself crazy. But this is what it says in Revelations 11:8. It says, "And the nations were angry, and thy wrath had come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. and that they should give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and that he will destroy them that destroy the earth. People, listen to me. All these men, all these corporations, all these governments, all these shadow governments, all these people that are planning our demise, it's not going to work. God says he's going to come back to this planet and he is going to destroy them which destroy the earth. And that destroying the earth means he's going to destroy those that are trying to make this earth uninhabitable. People, listen. Remember what Jesus said? He said if he didn't step in, no flesh would survive. People, this is what we need to remember. We know where we're going. Regardless of how all this turns out, we know where we're going. And the fact that we've got all these man-made things coming together that can literally kill everybody on the planet. We've got all these things coming together right now, and none of them are any good. That tells me that we're living in the end times. People, listen. Don't worry about this stuff. This is what I need you to do. You need to do what I do. Every day, when I say my prayers, I ask the Lord, I say, Lord, whatever they're planning, whatever they're spraying on us, whatever they're sticking in us, Lord, please put a hedge of protection around me and my family where none of this affects us. People, listen, if you pray that prayer is more powerful than all the stuff they're planning to kill you with. I believe that. So listen, we're living in perilous times. And Jesus said if he didn't step in, no one would be saved. And it also says that in the end that these evil people that are doing all this, they're going to go into their caves and they're going to cry out to the rocks to fall on them and save them from the one that's coming. People, none of this stuff is going to prosper. None of it's going to prosper. In the end, we win. Don't worry about all this stuff. Just remember, God's in control. God is in absolute control. And he's going to come back and he's going to set it all in order. And he's going to judge all these wicked people. They're going to get exactly what's coming to them. Anyway, I just wanted to give you something to think about. Heaven or hell, you choose. Just remember, once you take your last breath, it's a done deal.